Hello, everyone, and welcome to the monthly cables meetup. This time, November in 2023, and for this week, or for this month, basically, we got Ilya from Digital Panda to show us how they made their amazing experience game quiz thingy, which is called Haunted by Nostalgia, um, and used cables on the way. And then later on, we will show you what we did with the this month release of cables. We got a few new features to show. We will run down through the blog post as we used to. And yeah, all of this, as you might see if you're watching on YouTube, will be recorded and put up as a video on demand on YouTube later on. And yeah, so let's see how this works. Ilya is around and he said he's open to questions anytime, basically. So feel free to ask questions in the meetup channel. I will relay them, or also kind of, I don't know, put your hands up or just shout in between. We will see how this works. Ilya, if something's too annoying to you, just like also feel free to correct people and let you talk. I'm really excited to have you here. Thanks for doing this. I'm also really interested in how you integrated cables with all the front end technologies and see how state is managed in your game. But now, stage is yours. Go for it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So, as mentioned, my name is Ilya. I'm the founder of the Digital Panda. I've been using cables for about a year now. Just happened to discover it and have started integrating it into most of the web projects that we do that involve 3D and kind of some more sophisticated experiences, even for just WebGL in general. And just a quick background: we are a creative agency based in Vancouver. We work with a large number of clients. Large and small. All of this entire website is done using Webflow mixed with cables. So these pandas that you see over here are in cables and then scrolling with the site. So with that in mind, I'll just close that. And today we're talking about our haunted house experience. So for those of you that have not seen it yet, we built this in September for a kind of Halloween experience. We really wanted to, the goal of the project was to create something quickly and test ourselves from a both design and implementation perspective. How fast can we turn around a whole new concept that's seasonal and continue to develop these over the course of a year? So our first experience is called Haunted by Nostalgia. And the idea was to create a game. So we originally came up with some mood boards about the concept. So, multi-level kind of diorama style game. What would it be? First we had an escape room concept with very sophisticated mechanics. We scrapped the mechanics to make it a very simple kind of puzzle game where you just, or quiz, sorry, puzzle, where you identify movie posters based on scenes from horror movies. And so we created this as a concept. We quickly did this, I think, as a mock-up in Midjourney and then kind of modified it a bit. So we had the idea of 3 levels in a house. And then we started creating concepts within Figma as well, where we actually identified what movies we would feature. And so our lead 3D modeler and animator, who is actually on this call and listening, created all of these items for the set and all of the props that were put within the game. So to give you guys just a quick rundown of the experience. So when you start the experience, we have this little panda over here saying, whoa, this looks like a creepy house. Maybe we should go in. There's sound design implemented throughout the experience. The idea, and I should just make this smaller so that you guys see it a little bit bigger. The idea is to create a very creepy sound. So I just made it quiet, but you probably won't be able to hear it anyway because of volume suppression or whatever, background noise suppression. One thing that I wanted to note is that the audio actually pans left and right depending on your mouse position. There are a couple of things that we implemented that made it feel a little bit more creepy, such as the camera actually moving around left and right. It just moves on a sine and cosine curve. We've created a cursor that closes by itself when you're not moving it. And in general, this cursor is a lamp that you just kind of move around and highlights the dark pieces. So what was the final point of the game? Once you click on any of these items, you have to kind of guess what movie they're from. If you know your Halloween scary movies, you'll be able to do this pretty quickly. And if you get all of them right, then you will be delighted with a 3D rendered little animation that Murillo put together. And if you get them wrong, you will just be kicked out. Let's see. Get a wrong one. Cut. And so there's two paths that we created. And so one of the things that we'll cover today is how we thought about state and how we thought about paths throughout this. It's really very simple, and using JavaScript for that, which might not work here, but works in the actual final game, which I'll just quickly show you guys here. Actually, skip that. All right, so now I would like to show you the cables implementation. So this is the entire canvas that we've done. So we have it broken up into multiple sections. We are using intersects a lot for the items. So all of the items that you saw within this game are connected to an intersect. And so I will just quickly show you how that looks like. So each one of these, when you hover over, you should be able to identify and change the color of the cursor. And so what we're doing is we're looking for trying to hit the intersect. And because intersects are in 3D space, we've decided to filter them. So basically have an if statement to make sure that they are only the ones that are on the level that you're at are shown or working. So right now we are on level 1. If we go up to level 2, then we'll see only these ones. And then you can see just based on my transform, when I click on transform, where their positions are. So in that way, whenever I highlight over an item, I'm able to see the cursor change to purple, signifying that there is something underneath. There's also some variables that are at work here, and I'll just move over to that very quickly. So the current view I just wanted to identify are the different levels. So we have current view 1, current view 2, current view 3. This plays into quite a few different things. So you may notice on the lamp we have go upstairs. So depending on if you're on level 2 or level 3. So if you're here, now you're going downstairs. And then this is downstairs when you are on this floor. So just kind of created I created a toggle between strings depending on what you're on. So the other thing that I wanted to focus on, which is very important for us, was how to set up the UI in the game itself. So you'll notice that we have a bunch of different things, such as the narrator at the bottom, as well as the game UI. So every time, as soon as you make your first interaction with the game, it will show you how many lives you have left. And what we did there is we identified, I'll just scroll down here. So we identified that if you're using CSS variables, we can actually just show and hide certain items using CSS variables. And then that creates a very simple interaction. It doesn't really require using event listeners in JavaScript. And we can very simply just... Sorry?
Sorry. Just for clarification, so you decided to not use the cables HTML elements, but do it on like your usual workflow or frameworks or HTML development.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. So I personally have like a long background of front-end development. And so one of the things that we're trying to do is to understand how we can integrate cables more tightly with CMSs that we use, Webflow, for example. In this particular case, we built the HTML by hand, basically. And so I wanted to make it so that the JavaScript populates all of the movies. So for that reason, I actually wanted to keep it on the front end in case, we can create a kind of template or boilerplate for implementing this into more sophisticated CMS situations. And so in this case, like we have, movie list comes out, and then based on this movie list, we're populating a whole bunch of things, and we're identifying what items we're displaying. This is randomized every time you click on it. So every time that we click on this, it's going to be a random list, except
It's
for...
interesting that I found out quite quickly that if you go like this, then the right one will always be in there. So you just click a few times and
exactly, right? I mean, this was just done again like over the course of a few weeks, so we just wanted to go really quickly and create something that still is impactful and visually cool, not so much like foolproof or anything like that. But yeah, for those that figured it out, right, you just click through. Okay, I see the repeating one. It's it. And so what you could do in this case, so we have, if you see over here, we have 1 out of 13. That was shown after you clicked a specific score. So, for example, if start experience is 1 and data game equals start, or the data game start element becomes opacity 0 and pointer events none. And then if you...
I didn't know you can do conditions in like this in CSS. That's really interesting. Cool.
Yeah, it's actually so basically because this is a CSS variable, you can just identify and highlight its value from the body tag or from the body DOM element. And so it's kind of like a trick or a hack or whatever, but it works really well. And it allows us to keep the code very light and identify, very simple and create very simple animations and transitions just using CSS animation.
Yeah. And in cables, you use that CSS variable op, I guess, right? Yeah.
That's right. So if I go back to here, I can show you that I'm looking at the current view. I'm converting it into a number, and then I'm pushing it into the current view CSS variable. And I do this a number of times. Load progress, project ready. If I can actually, use load progress from 0 to 1 and show or hide a specific element as a progress indicator on my CSS.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. You could also, then if you basically just keep your whole HTML front end, you could even do like fade in, fade out in CSS that way then, right?
Exactly. And that's exactly what we're doing. So we're going to watch what happens when we do, we get something wrong. As the scream happens, and then this shows up, right? So these animated in. So I also have, for example, like when the score is equal to 13, I'm not going to display the tooltip close anymore because we've now won the game. There's really only one thing that you can press. I'm also hiding the close button and the complete button, so display none. If game over is won, then I'm showing like the overlay GUI. These kind of things are so easy to control in here. Also, you can combine them. So if it's game over and the score is 13, show overlay 1, or to show the overlay opacity with the transition and everything. And if you have live 0, show the overlay again. And then the overlay has a few things like play. We play the final video. So that is where we originally started with JS. So we would, show. Let me just try to understand where It's already been a month and a half, so I'm sure some of you know that's like a million years ago. So we have like right choice, wrong choice, and then we have game over function, and that helps us. That sets things to game over, and then show game end elements. And what that does is it just shows the game end, and then plays the final video, and then mutes everything again. Right, so we're kind of like restarting it.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I just want to mention that could also all be done in cables with the HTML operators, but it's always a choice of your favorite weapon, right? So if you're used to this workflow, then you're much faster to the end result with the workflow that you do every day. But yeah, I like the idea with the CSS variables. That's a new workflow I haven't seen before.
Yeah. I created this workflow on the fly as we were doing this, and I found it incredibly useful. In case anybody is wondering, the audio actually, like we have a bunch of audio that's happening. I know that this is a very audio driven community, so this is probably the simplest thing for you guys, but we chose to look at, is it game over, is it not a game over, create a bunch of if statements on are we looking at like what view are we on? So this house creek versus that house creek. This is playing on the first level the top level and the basement, and this one is playing only on the main floor. And so they just kind of go on and off. And then I apologize that it's not very cleaned up, but we did rush things again. And then similar to like if it's not a win, so if it's not a win and if you didn't lose, if it is a win and you didn't lose, then we play the game over sound, and then success is played.
I think it's really readable. I mean, it's really not. I thought it's more complicated. It looks really easy and simple.
I tried to make it as simple as possible so that should I ever have to show this to anybody, I'm not embarrassed.
But I mean, it's like, I don't know, 10 audio files mixed together with various states. And I think looks great.
Appreciate that. If anybody's interested, the cursor, there is something interesting that happens with this cursor. So if you notice that when you move it left and right, it actually rotates a little bit as if you were moving a lamp left and right. And what's happening here is we're just doing a basic transform, and on that transform, we're just modifying the position as well as the rotation of it. The other thing is that you may notice that we're creating this kind of light, as if you're kind of looking in the darkness. That is a very, very simple circle. And that circle is just done to a render to texture. And then it is being used as a mask over top of one of two draw images. So there's, you know, this kind of soft thing, and the image can compose just puts them together. So this is something that I think a lot of you, know very well. Another thing for the effect on the final game, we are using bloom a lot, and this is the exponential bloom. I can't remember who created this, but it's a very great tool, and we kind of put it together here as a single thing, single patch. So it's I really appreciate
public patch from
yeah, I really appreciate him or her for creating that. What else could I cover here? Layer sequences, the introductory pre-render. So we are having a loading image, if you noticed. So every time you load this, I wanted to make sure that we're kind of following progress. So I get the progress from the loading progress CSS. So, and that is connected to all the way down to the loading indicator, which I don't know where it is right now. Yeah. So loading status. I put this before the scene render so that every GLB as well as texture is being loaded first, and then all of that in data is passed to loading progress and then loading finished. That way I'm not waiting for something to load before I'm actually showing the loading indicator. And finally, we actually decided to, because we are, an agency that prefers fast loading and everything. One of our main goals was to make sure that this is a very small file. And so I believe, let me just put this in here. I believe that we are a maximum, or we were a maximum of like 20 something megabytes. But that's like as a result of the movie itself. All of the textures are hosted on S3 externally as WebP files. And then the GLBs are pretty light as well. So it's 1.6 megabytes for the entire house, as well as all of the elements in there.
That's really good. Yeah. Did you use compression, or it's not Draco compressed even, right? It's just really good, clean modeling, I guess, low poly.
Yeah, that's all Murillo. So Murillo, if you want to say hello, you can let us know how you modeled all that. I don't know if your microphone is working.
It was just, it's pretty much low poly, and yeah, I did polish it a bit, so it performs well. There's not much to talk about it, to be honest, but if you guys want to know anything in particular, please let me know.
Yeah, actually, we both do appreciate that people actually have a look at size of things. So if you do something like this and have all the images and all the sound and everything in there and keep it under 20 megabytes, that's like really, really impressive. If you look at other websites that basically just display text and double the size.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm all about that too. I actually didn't realize that the house background, it was 12 megabytes. So we could have easily just turned that into something very small.
Audio, yeah, but that's also being streamed, right?
Yeah.
Maybe, but yeah, no, really great work. I mean, if like it happens so fast that you have too many polygons or the textures are too big, and you really have to look at it and control it every time. And yeah,
absolutely.
So it's all in one GLTF file in the end.
Yeah, it's all one GLB. Where is it? So it's called. Sorry, one sec. GLB is called. Where was it here? I don't have a search. Sorry.
The other search, this one next.
I'll just go in here. Everything is from here. Yeah, so we have the entire scene as this Halloween house version 19. So we did quite a few versions. Every single one of the items has a texture applied to it. So the environment, the outside, the roof, the floors, the objects, the basement, etc. And then all of the movie props are actually so there's a movie props at the mid, top, and basement, and they're all just like this. Very
You baked all the light information into
everything is baked in. Yeah, yeah. We wanted to take this a little bit further because we have been experimenting with baking in video. And then using the video as a texture so that you could potentially move your mouse around and then create shadows throughout the entire house by playing a textured video or a video as a texture forward and backward.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I thought the cursor is a point light. But yeah, it's
easy tricks. Easy tricks to create.
It's convincing, yeah, somehow. Correct.
Yeah, I guess that's really it. And so the result of all of that is that we got an FWA of the month for October, which actually surprised me a little bit. I thought we would get maybe of the day, but really happy at the result and appreciate Thomas and you guys for creating such an awesome platform that we can build such easy, amazing experiences on.
Thank you. Like, congratulations on the award.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But you said like you worked on this as a team, and you said you started and wanted to see how far you come and how fast you can be in this. So this was a project on your own, or so just your agency for flexing
for ourselves.
Basically? Yeah, okay.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. So we wanted to see how fast we could do this, and I think Murillo, what was it, like 4 weeks, 5 weeks in total? This thing.
I guess the 3D on my end took about 3 weeks for something like that, but we had other projects in the middle, right? So
yeah, we were still working on client files.
We had maybe 5 weeks total, but it was 3 weeks of work on the 3D.
It was the both of us, so 2 people, 4 weeks, something.
Yeah, it was no. There was we had UI design as well. Yeah, so there's a UI designer that this was like maybe a couple of days, maybe a week. We had a story, like we had to conceptualize a story. I think 5 people in total worked on the project.
Yeah, 4 weeks from start of concept to finalizing this and releasing this is awesome.
Thank you.
And are you planning a Christmas house or something like this?
We actually were thinking about something like that, but at this point, we're actually just a little bit overwhelmed with work. So maybe we'll do something for New Year's, something like that for 2024. Anybody have any questions? I'm happy to answer on this meetup or whatever.
So apart from the what you got, what was the reaction from the audience? Like, do you have any numbers? How many people played it and how it was received? Did you get any feedback or something?
We posted it on just LinkedIn and sent it to our clients just to show them some things that we've been up to, and the reactions were incredible. A lot of people had a lot of fun with it. Some shared it internally to their entire organizations. I think we got a new project just based on this one. They really want one of our existing clients. They're like, we want something just like that. So yeah.
I also kind of spread it in my circle of friends, and everyone was like, "Hey, this is super nice," and
thank you.
Really fun to play.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. There's a small, I guess you don't really think about it, but you can actually move this around by holding. It's kind of like an Easter egg.
Yeah, what happens with a lot of our projects is we leave in the sidebar unless we put it on D for debug mode or something like this, and then we kind of forget to disable it. Yeah,
for sure. I try. Yeah, I actually created in order to work on this, I created a keyboard shortcut. And maybe this will help, somebody, but if you press, let's see, so is it Q? Yeah, so you can quit that. So you can go D will open up debug mode. And then, so now I've basically can kind of move around and see, where the textures are. This was really instrumental in just placing the objects. And then I
That's
can
also
just,
really cool. But you
yeah.
disabled this in the final experience, right?
Yeah. So you can't press the key press. Yeah.
How did you animate the camera? Is it a camera from GLTF or did you?
Okay. Yeah, that's a great one. Thank you. That's actually the first thing that we started with. So the cameras are animated using just the multiply view matrix. And this is the standard thing that you went over maybe 6 months ago, I think. So we have we have orbit controls which are on the outside of a debug true or false. And then we have a route trigger. So this is connected to the current view. So when you animate or tell the view to go to a specific 1, 2, 3, or 4, it'll change the camera. Yeah, and so that made it super easy to just adjust, the camera position, whatever, and we can animate it all. That's it.
That's
Yeah, that was
exactly how we also do it in some of our projects. It's really convenient, and yeah, you could also even go from the basement directly to the top camera or something like this. It wouldn't.
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. You could. We've played around with the idea of like letting people switch from all those things, but I thought about like, oh well, it doesn't, not necessarily that game experience as opposed to just
Yeah, the journey doesn't
architectural.
make sense for the journey, but it's so flexible.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
super flexible. Absolutely. Yeah, and then you could press quit, I think, and just at any point. So this was my Q. Yeah, so you press Q and it goes back to here. Yeah. Good.
Pretty cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. More questions from anyone else?
Nope. Okay.
No. Doesn't seem like. Thanks a lot for showing this. Yeah, really nice and both like technical stuff. Like I like the attention to detail, even in file sizes and request sizes, and everything feels just like polished. I also like the looks and all the graphics and everything. Even sound is like super fitting. Felt like really great. Thanks for showing this. And this CSS variable workflow is also really nice.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, then I would say we go over to the update part, right?